Daydreams is a boutique events company based in Washington, D.C. We've been in business for about 3.5 years and we work in 3 areas. The first is that we plan events for clients, so weddings, corporate events, social events. The second is that we host events for the public, so that would be our literary tea series where we gather around for a session of afternoon tea and a conversation around a piece of work, whether it's an author like Jane Austen or a book series like Harry Potter. And the third is that we work with venues as the event planner side. So we wear a different hat, event planning hat with venues and providing support there. I am a really big fan of Jane Austen and I love her adaptations to film. One of my favorite adaptations, I know this might cause a little controversy, is the 2005 version of Pride and Prejudice. And the score on that film is absolutely beautiful by composer Dario Marianelli. And one of the pieces of music on that score is The Secret Life of Daydreams. And I used to listen to that song and listen to that piece and feel so much inner peace and stillness and comfort. And that's what I realized I wanted to create for the clients that we work with at Daydreams. Whether they're coming in to craft with us for 2 hours or working with them for 18 months to 2 years on their wedding, that is how we want them to feel.
From the beginning, we immediately clicked over 10 years ago while working at an environmental nonprofit and bonded over working through event disasters and long hours of travel. We both love bourbon cocktails, and even after working 14+ hour days for a week, we still always took time together to explore the city we were in after each event and just take time to reflect and decompress and talk about future events and dreams together. The process of having this vision and concept and then seeing that grow and finally be implemented and take physical form on the day of the event. The other piece of that, of course, is seeing the effect and the power of events on people and how much joy it brings to them, and being able to have that experience where you see the effect of your work on the people you're working with is just incredibly rewarding.
We both have a background in theater, and so we have a lot of experience on working on something for a long time and sweating over it and then preparing it for an audience, for better or for worse, and seeing their reaction. And that whole process and the way you have to work as a team and collaboratively and bring your own skills to something is really extremely fruitful. To hear about their event, whether it's a wedding couple or a corporate client, and understand what their vision is for it, and then to share the services that we offer as a part of Daydreams. And a big part of that meeting is testing out our chemistry. You know, we're going to be spending a lot of time together. Event planning can be extremely stressful, so it's key that we feel like we're going to jive well together and that we can move comprehensively as a team. Like, that team aspect is very important to the work that we do. In terms of working with a client who is interested in full planning wedding services, we do take an intense amount of time understanding the full vision so they can feel like we are their representative and we're going to be able to make decisions and recommendations on their behalf that they're going to feel comfortable with. There's nothing that's more horrifying to us than for them to completely hate, and to be extremely off base on whether we're presenting a design or a vendor or something like that. And then we provide like a well laid out process to take as much stress off of them as possible, so that they can feel like we are the ones helping to guide the ship of the event planning process. As for month of, we typically are contracted 6 to 9 months out from the wedding, and then about 5 to 6 weeks in advance, we have a meeting, understand where everything stands with their wedding. Throughout that process, before we were between being contracted and this 5 to 6 weeks, they send us all the contracts, we review it so we can understand what's going on with their wedding. They might say, hey, do you have a recommendation for a vendor? And we provide that to them. But we download in that meeting all the details for their wedding. We take that information, put it in the formats and documents that we have created, and then we have a whole bunch of questions for them so that we can accurately go to the vendors and have one of our last steps, which is a touch base call with them to go through our full run of show, which is a minute by minute document of where everybody is, what's going on, what's moving in at what time, to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So we are the one communicating out to all of the vendors. And then on the day of, we are the captains of that ship. Like, all the couple has to do is show up and go where they are. We escort them around to different places. We check in with them. If they're, uncle so-and-so or aunt so-and-so is bothering them, we are the buffers. We've become very good bouncers in our day, even though we're both pretty small women. And that is what we do. We do not want them to have to worry about anything. We want them to be able to relax and take a moment. And if they're a couple that wants to go take a moment alone, we want that to happen. If they want to go dance on the dance floor for 6 hours, we want that to happen. And that's why we spend so much time with them, to make sure that that vision is happening.
While Jessica and I work so well together, we have very different aesthetics. We purposely split it out from the beginning. So kind of in our separate world, we ideate over like a general concept and imagery and like the feeling that we want an event to have. And then we have a little presentation to each other where we show, an image or two and explain what that is. From there, we take feedback from one another and then continue to refine that into what's the manifestation of that. So like, what would the furnishings look like? What would the decor look like? And really think through all those pieces, and then come back and present again and talk through pros and cons and strengths of each. From there, we decide which one is the best fit for the event, which one, could really be taken further and implemented realistically in the next stage. So from there, we take the selected design and really build it out. What does the floor plan look like? What is the feel? What's the flow of the event? What are the exact furnishings that we're going to use? And really pull that together in an easy way to communicate to a client to present from there. And once signed off on, we tweaked with feedback from a client, then we really dive into making the magic of pulling all those event pieces together happen.
At the environmental nonprofit, we were tasked with creating an event for our membership, an appreciation event for membership. And it was very clear that we didn't just want this to be a reception and something standard. It had to be something special. So it's the first major design project that we had. And we had a completely blank canvas of this warehouse in New Orleans, and we had to figure out where we wanted to start from. So the first thing that we did was we thought about, how do you create an environment that helps people show you appreciate them and that they are welcome? And the best way, the design that we ended up coming to is the idea of building a home. Like, one of the most intimate things you can do is invite someone into your home, into your house. So we took this massive space and we separated it into different rooms. People walked into a foyer that had this beautiful table with a chandelier coming down from the ceiling. And we had this massively long communal table where everybody could eat dinner. We had a library space, and on the shelves there were previous publications and photos from other events. We had this beautiful kitchen space that had an active food station, chef station there. And then the remarks were given from this little stage that we had put a beautiful rug on, and there was a massive mantle with this huge flat panel television with a roaring fire, and that's where we gave the remarks from. And it's something where usually at these events, people come, get their drink, get some food, and leave. And people stayed the whole night. And I just loved the way as soon as Sara and I working together, as soon as we kind of settled on that idea, it just felt right, and everything came out of that.
Well, it might be cliche. The favorite part of my husband Rob and I's wedding was being surrounded by the people that we love most for an entire day. Looking back, especially at our wedding photos and the photos taken from basically the officiant's point of view, looking out into the crowd and seeing the smiles on people's faces and all that love, for us it's just the best feeling that you can have as a way to kick off your marriage and life together. And then to scooters. My husband emailed pretty much every scooter company in the city and finally found Spin, who agreed to drop off a bunch of scooters at our ceremony location, and our guests all hopped on those scooters to scoot together to the reception. So that was just a really fun way and part of the day.
The ultimate goal of Daydreams always is to help bring people to a place of peace. So whether they're coming and hanging out with us and crafting for 2 hours, or they're trusting us with one of the most important days of their life, that will always be the foundation of the work that we do. One day, I want us to open an event venue. I would love to open a small bookshop. I would love to grow and expand our small team. That is one of the things that I love about the name of our company. And in doing this work, there are no limits to what we're able to create. And we've already been able to bring to fruition work in projects that seem like a mere daydream. So to me, the sky is the limit, and I cannot wait to see where we end up going in the future.